All right, what is up, team? It is December 27th. We have a couple of decent setups today, mostly to the downside so far. However, we're kind of lacking, like the reasoning behind why we should move to the downside about 5R. So we have most of the components that we're looking for, but there's definitely no real reason why, like Google, for instance, should sell off massively. However, if we can get the right setup and if we can get some confirmation with the market, then it could be a good trade to take. So we're going to see, it's the very end of the year. There's like 2 trading days, maybe 3 trading days left for the end of the year. Holiday week, and it's a Friday, so a little bit less volume. We'll see if we can get some trades today. Another thing about this potential trade is we're not guaranteed a big sell-off to the downside, because for the last, looks like about 3 days, 4 days, we've had a lot of buyers to the upside on the daily chart here. So it could still be in consolidation and sellers could be a little hesitant before we get a sell-off. We'll be watching the market carefully to see what that's going to do. We're also looking at this trade because this would be a green to red move. So as this turns red and breaks to the downside, we're going to get this nice deep red candle. A similar setup is Palantir. Palantir is doing the same thing. So basically the same trade idea, 2 separate stocks. Problem is, as you know, both of them have been very bullish recently, except we actually have been getting a lot of sellers in Palantir. Let's actually move over to Palantir. Something kind of like this. All right, there's the price alert that I set for Palantir. There's the move. Looks like it's running without us. Oh shit, we maybe missed that one by maybe like 5 seconds. That is messed up. I wonder if Google is still ready to go. Google's still setting up. This Palantir one was looking better than Google because you can see we've had a lot more sellers here in the last 3 days than Google. Ton of sellers on this day, ton of sellers up here, more sellers here. So there have been a lot more sellers in Palantir than Google, which makes sense as to why we're almost already at 3R. So, but that one happened a little quicker than we were ready for. Could potentially do Google, not quite as good of a trade. Looks like a lot of buyers are stepping in. So here we're just going to do a starter position because this can get pretty volatile here at market open. We might also look to sell off some of this position a little more quickly, as it's going to be pretty volatile in the morning. It's actually... So we just sold off a small amount of it just because we're going to stay cautious on this one, especially since we didn't get the cleanest entry. Stop loss is going to be right about this break-even level that we drew out, right around 196. The stock market so far is on a mission today to the downside. Nice, solid move. Let's hope we can get a continuation of this. However, probably not the best for our swing trades that we're in. Looks like that Palantir trade idea is getting to about 5R right now. I think we missed that one by maybe about 5 seconds. That was a quick one. I wish I had noticed that I like the Palantir setup better than Google earlier. Alright, we're getting to 3R right now on this Google trade. Stop loss is going to be probably like 195.50. So above break even, or below, I guess I should say. In other words, we'll be in the green no matter what. I'm honestly surprised that the market itself is selling off this powerfully, this quickly. From what I saw, I didn't really see any real bad news. By the way, this can run a lot longer than 5R. We could definitely make it to about 10 times our risk on this trade today. And close a small amount there in case it gets choppy. That way we can potentially add back into it, because the market is looking pretty oversold at the moment. Google's not looking very oversold. Google looks just fine, to be honest. But the market itself is a little overdone. We add the stop loss back here. Stop. All right, looks like we're at 4R right now. I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't had any opportunity to add into this. We did have a small opportunity right around this 195.40. That would have been a little aggressive, but we definitely could have added back into it there. All right, there's 5R. Let's go ahead and move this stop loss down for now. We're moving it about halfway down this current candle. So sometimes when we get a really long aggressive candle like this one, I like to put my stop loss right about the halfway point. Or sometimes if you want to be safe and give it a bit more room to run, you can keep it at about a third of the candle. So that'd be back near the low of that previous candle. However, I do want to be safe on this since the market's looking a little oversold. Pretty aggressive sell-off, being at negative 1.2%. Nothing that crazy, but let's actually see if maybe there's some news I missed. Not really. Let's look at some other trades, see if we can maybe find something else. Gonna move this to the low, or the high, I should say, of the current candle. And let's see what else we got. Palantir is still at 5R, so that's good. Although we missed Palantir, we've made the same amount on Google. Looks like Palantir is now moving down to 6R, so just a little bit more than Google. I was also looking to go short on AVGO, which has been a really big move. I could draw it out. It's probably about 6R as well. Let's check on MicroStrategy. Yeah, not looking too good for our Oracle swing trade. It's right around back around break even, so that's not as fun. What is really nice is that we're getting this beautiful pattern on the daily chart here. We have this nice clean level right there. So that means that later on when we get a breakout, that could be a pretty good swing trade. Obviously, when that happens, I tend to look for other stocks to swing trade rather than the NASDAQ, because the NASDAQ moves very slowly in terms of percentage. All right, it looks like Google's at about 6, almost 7 R now. We could definitely make it to 10R, although I don't know that, let's see. Yeah, we'll probably give it about maybe 2R worth of room for a trailing stop. So I'll move this back down a little bit. I might finally get stopped out here, or we might keep selling off. We have no idea. But we definitely have more gap that we could fill. By the end of the day, we could definitely move to about this 192 area, which would be about maybe, yeah, probably 12, 13R, somewhere around there. Sadly, there haven't been many opportunities to add into this unless we had just been like really aggressive as this sold off. If we wanted to look for a reversal to the upside, which I don't really recommend, I would look to buy AVGO. Anything above that like 241 on AVGO could be decent if the market started to reverse. But it would take a lot of confirmation to reverse from such a strong sell-off, because if we added these indicators like the moving average, we would be heavily beneath the moving average, and then it's a bit of fighting to get back above that. Doesn't really matter, but yeah, I'm definitely not looking to buy yet. Just not enough confirmation. Let's go ahead and draw a price alert on AVGO, just in case. So here's that Palantir trade idea. Looks like it made about 6R. So in the end, our Google trade ended up doing just as well. So that's nice. I wouldn't have mind having been in both, but it's whatever. See, maybe we'll check on NVIDIA, maybe SMCI. SMCI is not doing anything. It's not looking good. Let's get right into video again. So here's what I was talking about on AVGO. So as you can see, there's this important price level here at 241. So if we got some consolidation and then a breakout above it, we could get a decent move. It's kind of hard to say with today because at the moment we're just selling off. But you can actually see we already got that twice. We got that back here 2 days ago, and we got it again yesterday, 1 day ago, which was actually the trade that we took yesterday. But right now, that would be a pretty aggressive buy, unless the market looks like it really wants to reverse, which it definitely could. but I'm not seeing it. Maybe somewhere above this level. I don't know if I mentioned this today, but yeah, I don't think I did. I think MicroStrategy is setting up really nicely for a potential swing trade. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it would be to the upside. Actually, you could do one to the downside, but I wouldn't recommend doing a swing trade to the downside of MicroStrategy, because when you have a stock like this that kind of trades like a penny stock, you never want to be the guy who shorts it and then wakes up and the next day is irrationally high for no real reason. Or, maybe Bitcoin goes up a little bit and for no real good reason, MicroStrategy goes up like 30% just because the traders get exuberant. So you never want to short something that's like a penny stock like this. That's a pretty dangerous game. However, there's a very clean breakout of, looks like about 372 right here on the daily chart. That would be very clean to the upside. That would be a trade that I'd potentially put more than, I'd put a lot of money into that one. We'll have to see what the setup looks like when it happens, but that could be a decent one. For now, it's just selling off. The reason why a trade of 372 would be better than buying down here at 320 is that when we buy at 320, we don't know if we're about to break out to the downside, so we could have an immediate and fairly large loss. We'd also be trying to catch a falling knife, because so far it's just been sellers, tons of sellers. However, when we get a strong breakout above this 370 area, a lot of these sellers will likely close their positions, which adds to the buying pressure to the upside, and it creates a lot better trade. If you want to buy at the bottom, which I still don't really recommend, not on this stock, but what you can do is when price dips beneath that 320 level, if you get a red to green move where it turns back and turns green and a bunch of those buyers step in under 320, that's usually a pretty good confirmation, and then you could try to buy once it gets back above 320. So anyway, that's just kind of a couple strategies that I use. Google has rebounded a lot. AVGO has not. Interesting. Let's check on the market. Interesting how much Google has rebounded. I mean, we knew that there were a lot of buyers in the previous days, so it's not that surprising. But that is very aggressive to buy up that much. Lots of buyers in Google. Wonder if we can get a continuation to the downside. Not a big fan of this pattern we're seeing here. Lots of volatility. We'd have to use a large stop loss. There's no clean entry here for a reversal to the downside. It's pretty, not pretty. It's not good. But yeah, I could definitely keep moving to the downside. Geez, AVGO is on a mission to the downside. Oh, Palantir is back up quite a lot. This is a decent area that we could go short on Palantir. Not enough room for confirmation to the downside yet. That's the tricky part. If this candle were to just start selling off and turning red, that's not really much confirmation because that would just be a live candle turning red. Whereas these other ones are already, they're just green. So it'd be pretty aggressive to just jump in this to the downside. That's basically the equivalent of catching a falling knife, but obviously in reverse. I don't really know what that would be. Catching a shooting star. Let's see if we can get this up a little bit higher and then potentially go for a reversal. That way when we're up higher, we'll be more likely to get some form of confirmation. You know, like maybe we'll get maybe we'll get a little bit of choppiness like this before we get a clean breakdown like that. Or at least maybe we'll move up here and then get a couple more red candles before reversing. But right now, it's pretty aggressive to just short this when we're trending to the upside. And meanwhile, the market is testing the lows for the day. Palantir is in its own world. And I see no reason why we should be above $81 on Palantir. So I'm definitely looking for trades to the downside on Palantir. We just need to get a good entry if we can find one. But yeah, I mean, we should be filling this gap. This is what we're looking for. To go up above, up here, is kind of silly, especially now that we're already so far into this gap. Actually, hopefully you guys can see this. Let me just check. Okay, perfect. Yeah, Google's already sold off again. Palantir might be next. Let's see what this kind of a trade would look like. Yeah, see, the stop loss is a little risky, and yet at the same time, it's so large that for us to make it to 5R would be very difficult. We'd have to move all the way down to $76. This trade right here, not worth it. Fairly likely to hit our stop loss, and minimal confirmation, and the profit target is extremely far away. This is why we always draw out our risk to reward, because it really puts things into perspective. I'm still a little bit sick. All right, yeah, I don't know if we're going to get any more trades over the next, half hour, to be honest. Oh, there's a breakout to the downside on the NASDAQ. Could maybe get away with a smaller stop loss here on Palantir. One second. Let's see this. I'm pretty confident in a decent move to the downside on this, but the entry is pretty risky. A big sell-off on the market. Big breakout. Has not happened yet in Google. Interesting. Thinking Google might be looking a little bit better than Palantir for a short. If we can get away with an aggressive stop loss like this, which is pretty small. You can maybe make it to 5R. It's definitely possible. But honestly, before we make it to 5R on this Google trade, the market will probably reverse. I wouldn't really recommend copying this trade. This is a pretty aggressive one. I'm expecting potentially a bit of chop. We went really light in this trade as well. And that way we can add more to it if the sell-off continues to I'm actually forgetting the word I was looking for, but yeah, if we continue to get a sell-off here, then I can add more to this. And we're basically looking for a move down to 192. That's kind of the last real level of support. Other than where we're at right now, we're actually kind of at a level of support on the daily chart. But if we can move past that, then the next level is going to be 192. Looks like we're getting a price alert. Nothing important. We should be pretty in the clear to make it to about this 192 level, but definitely expecting some chop in here. And if you're new to watching, then just want you guys to know I love a good sell-off. The more we get a sell-off, the better we get swing trade setups back to the upside. So sell-offs are really nice. It usually creates a lot of good buying patterns, like buy the dip, or just a lot of good patterns in general that we can buy breakouts of. Okay, I'm not really liking how many bars are stepping in here on the market and Google. Let's lower our stop loss. Not really willing to risk more than that when we're already at a win. So if we get stopped out, that's fine. We're definitely not going to hold more than a 2-hour loss from the low. You know, we're already at near about 2-hour, so let's just keep this at a break even. So the market is at an inflection point. This is honestly when we should start moving to the upside. Going to, let's see, risk off just a little bit there. Okay, we're moving the stop loss into the green. So if we get stopped out, that will be a win as well. And we're getting some nice sell-offs in the market, so that's good. Should create a lot of good opportunities for us. I'm actually going to start looking for some reversals to the upside. Let's see if we can find something that might want to reverse. Honestly, it's mostly the NASDAQ that's looking good for a reversal. And maybe AVGO if it were to reverse. All right, let's look for some reversals to the upside. I see MicroStrategy looking all right. Maybe Microsoft. Let's see. Yeah, Microsoft is looking good for potential reversal to the upside. Oh man, look at that. I'm very happy about Microsoft pulling back into this range. That'll be really good for us to re-enter that to the upside, at least at a later point. Big sell-off going into the new year. I mean, not that big, 2%, but fun stuff. So it would be a potential buy on Microsoft for a day trade above 430. All right, I might hop off here soon. I'm not looking for any more short trades. The market could easily keep selling off. That's very possible. However, I'm just not looking for any short trades right now. What I am going to leave you guys with is potential trade ideas to the upside, which would be MicroStrategy above 340, which I'll show you in a moment, and a potential reversal here above 430 on Microsoft. But we would definitely need the market to start turning around and showing real signs of buyers stepping in. And right now we're just selling off. So I don't know if we're going to get enough confirmation to buy Microsoft, but it is possible. And here's the one on MicroStrategy. We're talking about a potential buy above maybe this 339 level. I like the Microsoft trade better, to be honest. But yeah, so far it's not looking like a very A+ setup. I give it maybe like a 6.5 out of 10 because I'm not a big fan of fighting the market or the trend. We would need a lot of momentum to the upside for this to look like a good buy, because we'd want it to look like a buy the dip situation, where just a ton of buyers are stepping in. I actually have to make a phone call as well. All right, so we're going to hop off for now. As always, feel free to talk to me in Discord. And I will see you guys next week. I hope you have a good one.